got to duplicate the, this is my master, and I've got to transfer all my marks over to the actual trim piece. Do that mostly with a razor blade and a square. And some marking gauges. So we want to duplicate this particular design a few times and do it with a marking gauge. I always check my marking gauge just to make sure that I didn't move or something happened. We'll make sure that I put my knife wall in the right spot. And get my square. Typically I stand on the other side to do this, but let's stand on this side so you can see what I'm doing. Just score this line. Let's make this one deeper. There we go, that looks good. I've got to mark the depth of the cut, and I've already set my marking gauges up for that. So I can just turn my piece just so I can pencil that so I can see my mark. And do it to the other side. Mark the depth of it. So I'm definitely, you don't want to be consistent with these things. There we go. And then once that's marked, so what I've done is I just marked the depth of the cut, and then I'm going to just draw me a little line. It's kind of as a guide. Let me put a kind of a gauge. So I'm marking the depth of this thing so I know where to stop my cut at. The easiest way to do this. There we go. So I've drawn a little, it's kind of a guide, you know, it's kind of an easier way to see that for when I'm actually cutting it. And if you go off your knife wall, it's a lot thinner than a pencil line. Pencil lines are just too fat. And I say that as I'm drawing a pencil line, but this is just a guide. This is the actual cut. So let's go ahead and set this up where I can duplicate the master. Set this in the, so I can get to it here. Should be good. Okay, I've already sharpened this chisel is really super sharp. So I'm gonna see, what I gotta do is, let me move this out that way. I've got to cut this down, so I'm going to take this chisel and I'm going to remove some of this material, just a little bit of it, so I can get my saw blade, so I can get a nice, good, straight, clean cut. Because what I'm looking for is when I cut this, I want a clean edge. Now this one's chamfered, the master chamfered a little bit, and I'll probably chamfer it also on this one. Chamfer's just a curve. All right, so I've got my little indentation there. Come with my little dovetail saw. I'm gonna drop it right into that groove I just cut with the chisel. This is not, now this isn't a pull saw. This is, the teeth are facing forward on this one. I like my Japanese pull saw. I like when they pull back, so, but this one has got a straight blade on it. So let me see. You see, it does not take much. It does not take very long to do this. You need to rush it. No rushing it. Nice and easy. I'm just letting the weight of the saw do the work. And you can see here how I made a correction, because when I was coming through here, when I was razoring the line, it came off sideways, so I had to correct that with the saw. So that's why this doesn't look straight, but it'll be straight in a minute. So now I've got this cut. I will come into my chisel and just take a tiny bit of this side off, just a little bit. Not all the way to the knife wall. I just take a little bit down. I go a little bit deeper. And I'm watching on the other side, I'm watching this line, this angle. Just a tiny bit. A little bit more than that. Just a little bit at a time. There we go. Now I'm going to drop right into my knife wall. With this cut, you can drop into the knife wall this far. Now I'm following my angle on the other side that I drew with a pencil. Drop into my knife wall. Being careful not to bruise my edges, not to make my edges all jacked up looking. Now I'm going to come into my knife wall right here. I'm going to follow the angle that I drew with my pencil. And then clean it up. I need to cut a little bit more straight. So this is messed up right here. Notice I'm not putting my chisel against the knife wall. I want to keep that pristine. As pristine as I possibly can. Just pare this a little bit. See, I just missed my knife wall a little bit right here. So I need to go back into my knife wall. Just a tiny bit. I'm talking about a tiny bit. I want to get rid of that line, because once you stain this, you know, this is going to be stained. This isn't going to be painted. And back into my knife wall. Back into my knife wall. Back into my knife wall again, following the angle of the pencil. Cut that out. Make sure we get a nice, good, clean, there we go, surface. I'm just going to cut this just a little bit. I want to make sure to have a little bit of a knife wall there that I'm working to. Nice and slow. There we go. So I'm not all the way, I didn't cut all the way to this other side, so I'm gonna cut, make sure I get those fibers cut. And I'll come down, cut the fibers. This way is bevel up, this way is bevel in. Sometimes you'll work, you know, the opposite way, depends. All right. I'm gonna use this like a smoothing plane on the inside wall, because for some reason I did not get that clean when I cut that with the saw, because normally I come straight off the saw and this will be pristine surface. But this time, did not happen. Just fine. Here we go. Make sure I get all the way down in there. All right. So there's our cut. That's just about it. Still a little bit of cleaning up over here to do. There it is. And it's super easy. This is, I don't know if I like this thing or not. It's a little bevel thing. And it needs to be out of wood, but it's kind of a rubbery thing, but it works. So I'm just going to clean up on the inside of there real quick. So anyway, there we go. We duplicated this, and these are the trim pieces that go in there. That's how to do that deal right there.